babble, grunt, squawk, buzz, chirp, croak, roar. Animals use their bodies to make all sorts of sounds. And like sounds made by people, animal sounds communicate all kinds of information. Animals make sounds to signal danger. They make noise to signal their mates. Some animals make sounds to tell other animals where to find food. You know that every sound has a source. The source produces vibrations, but for those vibrations to be heard as sound, they have to reach a receiver. Humans use their ears as receivers. Many animals, such as dogs, cats, and horses, have ears that work the same way as human ears do. Humans cannot move their ears, so sometimes they turn their head to hear sounds better. Animals such as dogs, cats, and horses can turn their ears in the direction of sounds without moving their heads. Insect, yakety yak. Not all creatures use their mouths to talk, and some don't have ears for receivers. In the animal world, insects have some of the more interesting ways of communicating. They use different body parts as their sound sources and receivers. Tattletale. Snakes do not have voices. A rattlesnake talks with its tail. The end of the tail looks like a rattle. It is made of pieces of a thick, dry material that is sometimes like your fingernails. When the rattlesnake senses danger, it shakes its tail, making a rattling sound. Snakes do not have ears either. They hear by feeling vibrations through the ground. The vibrations are sensed through the snake's bones. The male cicada talks with his stomach. The stomach has stiff plates on it called tymbals. Cicadas push their tymbals in and out to make noise. It is like making noise by bending a cookie sheet in half. Crickets and grasshoppers are famous for their loud chirping sounds. Crickets talk to each other by rubbing their wings together. Grasshoppers make their chirps by rubbing a leg against a wing. Crickets and grasshoppers also have special sound receivers. In addition to ears, they sometimes use their antennae or feelers to hear. Other insects use their antennae as receivers too. Bees make buzzing sounds by vibrating their wings, but bees don't hear the buzzing sounds with their ears because they don't have any. Bees sense vibrations through their bodies. How do fish hear? Like snakes and some other animals, fish do not have ears. They sense vibrations, mainly through a tube called a lateral line. The lateral line runs along each side of a fish's body, just under the skin. Vibrations pass through the fish's skin and shake tiny lumps of jelly in the tube. The jiggling jelly touches nerves, and the nerves send messages to the fish's brain. Your source and receiver. Like other animals, you have a sound source and receiver. You actually have many sources since you can use different parts of your body to make sounds. Stomping your foot makes a sound. Tapping your head makes another sound. But the source you use most is your voice. You also have 2 sound receivers. These are your ears. Your vocal cords are in your throat. Air from your lungs make your vocal cords vibrate. The vibrations from these cords then move up your throat and come out your mouth. Muscles make the space between the vocal cords bigger or smaller. The bigger the space between them, the lower the sound you make. That is why an adult's voice is deeper than a child's voice. An adult's vocal cords are larger. They create a bigger space when they are moved apart. Let's listen. The human ear is divided into 3 main parts. These are the outer ear, the middle ear, and the inner ear. Sound passes through all 3 parts on its way to the brain. The outer ear includes the auricle, a tube called the ear canal. The auricle is the fleshy piece of your ear on the side of your head. It collects the sounds created by people, animals, and other sound sources. Then it guides the sounds into the ear canal. The sounds pass through the canal into the eardrum. Sound makes the eardrum vibrate like the top of a drum. Even quiet sounds cause tiny movements of the eardrum. Next, the vibrations from the eardrum enter the middle ear. The middle ear has 3 tiny bones. They are called the hammer, the anvil, and the stirrup. These bones transfer the vibrations to the inner ear. The inner ear is spiral shaped like a snail's shell. It is called the cochlea, which is the Latin word for snail. The cochlea is filled with liquid and a strip of small hairs. The strip is called the organ of the corti. When vibrations make the hairs move, they send an electric signal to your brain. The signal is sent along the auditory nerve to the brain. Let's read this. Under pressure. The pressure of the air around you changes all the time. It changes when you fly in an airplane or ride in an elevator. A sudden change in pressure can hurt your ears. The eustachian tube prevents ear damage when the air pressure changes. It connects your middle ear to your throat. The eustachian tube lets air flow between your ear and your throat. This corrects the pressure in your middle ear. When the air flows in or out, it can make your ears pop.